Hello everyone, welcome back to ACR.
Oh hey Pablo, me and Kermit got arrested in the first part.
This is unfortunate.
Hello everybody, welcome back to ACR. And for new viewers, ACR stands for Action Comedy Review. This video is about The Naked Gun, 2.5, The Smell of Fear. It came out June 28th, 1991, and it was directed by David Zucker and distributed by Paramount Pictures. The cast from the original comes back to reprise their roles, and obviously there's new characters, so. Leslie Nielsen as Frank Drebin, George Kennedy as Ed Hocken, O.J. Simpson as Nordberg, Priscilla Presley as Jane Spencer, and Robert Goulet as Quentin Hapsburg. For its budget, it had $23 million, and worldwide it made around $192 million. In the US, it made $86.9 million, and internationally, it made $105 million. And that's a great earn back. And the runtime for the movie is about 85 minutes, which is an hour 25. But anyway, let's get into this review.
Oh!
Watch your head. No, wait.
The movie starts out at a party at the White House where Frank was invited. They talk about their plan of action for the country energy plan that Dr. Meinheimer suggested. While this is going on, you can see Frank trying to eat this huge lobster, and he's just making a mess of everything, and it's just a whole ruckus while everyone's trying to talk. And there's just a bunch of jokes in there. It's a great scene.
Oh, Jake, show him the one where the lobster grabs.
Shut up, Kermit. I'm trying to keep this PG.
Wanna try telling me that again, tough guy? Huh?
The intro from the last movie plays, but now it's updated with the new logo that says The Naked Gun, 2.5, The Smell of Fear. And it's just got a bunch of new jokes in it as well. It cuts to Meinheimer's Institute, and Jane's looking out the window, reminiscing about her times with Frank. And as she's looking out the window, you can see the dude who places a bomb in the trash can run into his van. Meinheimer comes in and he asks her what she's doing here so late, and as they're talking, the janitor comes in and he finds the bomb, and he shows it to the security guards, and they're all thinking it's a clock. So they correct the time, and it blows up.
Oh, I was a janitor once. I was so good at it. But then I got fired because of my wizard friend. Now that I'm remembering him, he kinda smelled funny.
Just like the first movie, Frank's doing a voiceover while he's doing something. He's going to the scene of the crime, and he meets Jane there. They talk for a little bit about the explosion, then they go around the Institute a bit, and then they find Quentin Hapsburg, who's the antagonist, and is Jane's new boyfriend. Cuts to a bar where Ed finds Frank drinking by himself. Then Frank gets another chance to make up with Jane, but that ultimately fails. It goes to the Hexagon Oil Warehouse, where energy industry executives group up together to talk about Hapsburg's plan to get fossil and nuclear power to be confirmed by the president. Hapsburg reveals that he kidnapped Meinheimer, and he got a double for him, who will basically do what they want.
Kind of helpless invalid. All right, he's had enough.
Frank heads back to the police squad headquarters, and he wants to see what the lab reports found. And we see that Weird Al has become a criminal now, and he has 3 cops at gunpoint, but then he gets his face smashed in because Frank opens the door. They managed to find a footprint, and they found the suspect's wallet, and it apparently belongs to Hector Savage. They get a lead on where he might be, and surprisingly, they find his van. So Nordberg tries to set up a tracker at the bottom of the van, but then Hector, who looks like a Luigi without the hat, gets into the van and drives away with Nordberg still at the bottom, and it just turns into this whole thing where Nordberg gets trapped under cars, and then he gets trapped under a bus that heads to Detroit. Ed and Frank chase after him to a house, and police squad is there for assistance. But then Hector starts asking for money, then Frank hops into a tank, drives straight through the house, so then he escapes. Then he drives straight into a zoo freeing all the animals. But keep the animals in mind, because they show up periodically. And oh look, a monkey!
This man is literally living my dream right now.
Frank heads to a party and he makes a joke and they play the drum sound effect like within the music, and it's just really funny because the tension, like, it's just so subtle. Frank talks to Hapsburg, and Meinheimer's there as well, but it seems like he can't remember who Frank is, but according to Jane, he has a photographic memory. So obviously this makes Frank a little suspicious. The party becomes this whole mess, and then it goes to Jane's apartment. And she's feeding her animals, and surprisingly, the cat and the dog kind of look like Odie and Garfield. I don't know if this was a coincidence or not, but hey, there's that, I guess. Frank talks to Jane about Meinheimer, but she doesn't believe him, because it would be too far-fetched for him to be switched out with somebody who looks and sounds like him. Yeah, that's too silly.
Ooh, a lot of people look like me, Jake. Does that mean they're evil too?
No, Pablo. Those are replica skeletons. They're not alive like you.
Wait, I'm a skeleton?
After she says that, Frank acknowledges what she said and says that's actually way smarter than the idea he had. Then Frank uses Jane's phone to call Ed while she's in the shower, and Hector breaks in. Then he tries to kill Jane, but he's singing with her first. Also, Hector's Luigi, Hapsburg's Mario. Just felt like pointing that out. Frank comes in and he fights Hector, then he kills him by putting a fire hose in his mouth. So that's fun, I guess. Jane then realizes that Frank was right about Hapsburg, and then they do it while stock footage is playing over it because they had literally no other use for it. The next day, Frank and the other police squad members come together to infiltrate Hexagon Oil Warehouse, and Frank tries to break in, but then he gets chased around and almost mauled by guard dogs, and then he falls through the roof and interrupts Hapsburg's meeting. Hapsburg reveals his plan to him, and he has his goons tie up Frank and puts him next to the real Meinheimer. Then him and his goons leave. Frank tries to break out, but then police squad comes in and saves them.
Ooh, I was kidnapped before, but I fought them all by myself.
Liar.
It's night now, and it's at the party where Meinheimer is supposed to reveal his energy plan to the president. But Frank and the others tried to break in with the help of Jane, but Hapsburg interrupted her so that they couldn't get inside. But then they look over, they see a mariachi band, and they steal their clothes. But then they have to sing and play the instruments. When they got onto the stage, they were trying to sneak through, and it just backfired. So then they sing, and Frank surprisingly fixed his singing ability, and they're all really good at playing the instruments somehow. But I guess the good part is Frank's singing ability now.
Yeah, it's still pretty bad.
Now that they're in the building, they can finally stop Hapsburg's plan on whatever he's trying to do. And then Meinheimer switches with the imposter. Frank, thinking that the real Meinheimer is the fake one, tries to expose him, but it just ends up embarrassing Meinheimer. Thankfully, Nordberg comes in and points out the real fake. Hapsburg apparently kidnapped Jane and ran off, so then Frank, Nordberg, and Ed chase after him, while Meinheimer does his speech. Now they're at the top of the building, and Meinheimer's goons start having a shoot-off with them. Then Nordberg creates a freaking artillery cannon, and shoots down a door, and makes a huge chunk in the wall.
Oh, I was shot out of a cannon once. Now that I'm thinking about it, that's probably how I got here.
No, Pablo, I picked you up on a freeway. Frank runs around and he finds dying men, and he asks them where Hapsburg went and what he's doing, but they die before they can finish. And Hapsburg comes out of the shadows and reveals his plan to blow up the entire building with a bomb. Nordberg comes flying in and interrupts them, and he hits a wall. And Frank uses this to surprise Hapsburg, and he starts fighting him. And he gets him to the window, and he's holding him outside of it. And as Hapsburg's trying to reveal the shutdown code, Ed comes in and he throws him out the window, thinking he's helping. And he falls down, somehow survives, but then a lion mauls him to death. So you glad I told you to keep the zoo animals in mind?
Oh god, I love this movie now.
Frank and Jane are trying to disarm the bomb, while Ed and Nordberg are trying to evacuate everyone in the building. But within the last few seconds, they try to escape because they can't defuse the bomb. But then Frank unplugs the bomb and it shuts off. It goes back down to the hall and the president's commending him for disarming the bomb. He offers Frank the role of the head of the bureau for the federal police squad, but he declines it. And he asks if Jane wants to marry him, and she says yes. Let's see. I give The Naked Gun 2.5, The Smell of Fear 10 Luigi Hectors out of 10. This movie was great. I loved, like, pretty much every aspect of the movie. The jokes were great, few exceptions here and there. The story was great. I was actually invested in it, and it was very well paced. The actors were great too, just like the first movie. And the music was good too. I enjoyed that. I just really love this movie. It was such a great experience. If you like old police comedy movies, this is a good movie to watch. Along with the first movie, Leslie Nielsen is a comedic genius, along with David Zucker. It's such a great movie. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. But anyways, that's just my opinion. Tell me what you thought of the movie in the comments section below. Tell me if you've seen the movie or plan to see the movie. And while you're down there, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. Follow me on my social media pages, links in the description. And if you like the music in this video, I'll leave links to where I found the music. I'll even leave a link to buy the movie, because this is a great purchase right here. But anyways, see you next time for the final part of the Naked Gun trilogy. Naked Gun, 33 1/3, the final insult. See you next time.